Need it, love it, like it, want it. These are the 4 questions you should ask yourself before you spend any money.
So, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on being one of this year's Dream Big Award recipients for something that's really important, especially to the Black community and our association with money and all those things. You're doing some important and great work out there, and I can't wait to teach people about who you are and how they can benefit from all of your expertise. So do me a favor, tell everybody, your name, what you do, and how you started doing the work that you do.
Absolutely. So, hey. My name is Tiffany Aliche. I am much better known as the Budgetnista, and I'm a financial educator.
Hey, girl! We've invited Tiffany, the Budgetnista Aliche. Welcome, Tiffany, the Budgetnista Aliche, back. We're excited to welcome back our favorite award-winning teacher of financial empowerment.
Look, girl. What you must have in order to maintain life. You don't need a cute pair of shoes, although they are cute.
I teach you the things you likely should have learned at home or at school, but did not, like how to budget, how to save, how to get out of debt, how to fix your credit, how to start investing, how to make sure that you are fully insured up. So the foundation of your finances, and that's my focus. Before the Budgetnista, I actually was a school teacher. And then during the last recession, the 2008-2009 recession, my school closed, so I lost my job. And as I was rebuilding my financial life, folks were leaning into me to ask. I was fortunate to grow up in a household where money was taught. My dad was a CFO and an accountant, and he and my mom had 5 girls, and they would teach us about money all the time. We would legitimately have money lessons like in the house with my dad, and then my mom would show us in the real world, food shopping, clothes shopping, how to use money appropriately and responsibly. And so all that paired together, my education background and financial education at home, and I became the Budgetnista when people needed me most. I think some of the biggest mistakes that families make when it comes to their finances is living above their means, right? So many people, my dad would say, my parents are both born in Nigeria. There's a saying that goes that you cut your coat according to your size. And so what happens is people, instead of like getting a coat that is bigger that for them or living within a smaller coat, they're always living right up to the edge of their money, if not over that. That as they make a little bit more, they spend a little bit more and they keep the pace of their growth. And as a result, you're always just 2 steps behind. Most American families don't have $1,000 to manage an emergency. And we're in an emergency state right about now. And so what parents and families can do is, 1, learn how to live under their means. One of the best ways to do so is to reduce how many fixed expenses you have. So meaning that you have bills that you pay month in, month out, month in, month out. If you can reduce the number of those bills, and so folks are like, well, I have to pay my mortgage, or I have to pay my rent. Yes, but many people right now have a blender bill. You have a couch bill, a bedroom set bill. And they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, well, did you finance those things? Did you swipe your card when you got that blender or couch or towel set? Well, then you do have a blender bill and a towel set bill. And those are now expenses that you're paying month in, month out. So really living below your means. And if you've got really little ones, then you can start to infuse financial education into them even as early as 3 and 4 years old, giving them the language. So when I met my husband, our bonus daughter, his daughter was, I think 5 or 6. So we would go places. And before we would go places, he would buy her whatever she wanted. And then I started to do this thing with her where we would look at her money that she'd have in her piggy bank, and that was her budget. So I was giving her the correct language. And instead of getting whatever you want whenever we go out, go look at your budget and see what it'll allow you to buy. So infusing those types of lessons day in and day out. And certainly, yes, they can come to me. That's what we do at the Budgetnista. I specialize in especially women, but families as well. I have a ton of free resources, and we've helped over 900,000 women and families in the last 5 years get and stay on financial track, and largely for free.
Oh, just that one very magic word there. That definitely makes an incredible applicable to everybody. So there's really no excuse. But I want to go back to a point that you mentioned. I think that there is a disconnect here when it comes to bills and credit. You are saying do not have a bunch of monthly bills. But I think that a lot of people are under the guise that that is how you build credit. So can you give some advice to someone who, say, doesn't have a lot of monthly bills, but that's also prohibiting them from having enough activity in their credit report? Where is the connection between bills and credit?
So here's the thing about bills and credit that's kind of unfair. That if you pay your mortgage, if you pay the vast majority of your bills on time, so not your mortgage, but if you pay your rent on time, if you pay your utilities on time, it's all great, but it doesn't show up on your credit report. It's not favorable to your credit report. They're like, okay, but if you're late, then those late payments can certainly bring down your credit report, meaning that having all of these additional bills doesn't really help your credit, but it can certainly hurt your credit. And the thing about credit is that it truly is a game. And once you know the game, you can play properly. You can use credit, but you don't have to use a lot of it in order to raise your credit score or to show activity. So for example, I have one of my credit cards, I call it my Jump Like Jordan card, because that's the credit card that I use to make my credit score jump, jump, jump. You know, we've all seen Jordan jump, and it's like he can fly. And so what I do with that card is I put the cheapest bill that I have on that card, which is my Netflix bill. It's like, was like under $10. I put it on that card and I leave that card at home. And I have a separate checking account just for bills that I literally name my bills account. And so Netflix charges my Jump Like Jordan credit card. And then I have my checking account, my bills account, pay that card off every month. So for like the cost of $10, I am charging to credit and I'm paying it off. So I'm showing this responsibility when it comes to my finances, and it helps my credit score go up without costing me a whole bunch of money. And so there are ways to circumvent running up or getting random bills unnecessarily in order to raise your credit. You don't have to do that.
All right, so we'll bring it back. We'll let everybody go to the Budgetnista.com. But definitely appreciate you dropping those little tools here with us today. So now back to you really quickly. I've read somewhere recently, aside from, passing on this knowledge and being this Budgetnista financial educator, something happened in New Jersey where you got a law passed or something like that. Are you out here lobbying for change? Can you give us some details on that?
Yes, it's called the Budgetnista law. Actually, it's really called like Law A1414, but in the streets we call it the Budgetnista law.
Right.
And so what it was, a friend of mine who's an assemblywoman, she actually, so I used to teach financial education for the United Way. For 3 years, I created a curriculum and I taught that curriculum. And a woman named Angela McKnight used to come to my classes. And Angela does a lot of volunteering in her community, so much so that she ran for assemblywoman and she won. So as soon as she won, she said, Tiffany, I think financial education is critical. I want to write a bill and hopefully get a law passed in New Jersey. And I told her, well, thankfully in New Jersey, we're one of the first states to have a law for high school in place where it is mandatory in the state of New Jersey for high school students to receive financial education. But I told her, as a former preschool teacher, I think children as young as 3 and 4 should be learning financial education in school. So we sat down together, started to write the language for the bill. She had me meet with the education community members and other folks just to garner support for the bill, because you can't get a law passed without support, political support. And so it took 3 years, but finally that law was signed. We had a public signing ceremony, which is amazing because most laws don't get that. They just get signed privately. And we had a public law signing ceremony at the Barack Obama Middle School, which is very fitting. We have, New Jersey has its first Black woman lieutenant governor. And so our governor, Phil Murphy, was not available to sign the bill into law. So here you have on stage Angela, Black woman, assemblywoman, me, Black woman, financial educator, Lieutenant Governor, Lieutenant Sheila Oliver, Black woman. So it was just powerful for the kids to see like that, it truly was Black girl magic happening on that stage. And so she signed the bill into law, and the kids who were in the audience, my mom was there. And so, so now, and it didn't hit me that there was a law that I helped to create until one of my friends, she lives around the corner from me, and she's got a daughter named Olivia, and Olivia's in middle school. And sometimes they come over, and Olivia was doing homework and she was struggling. And she said, Miss Tiffany, can you help me with this homework? And it was like homework about money. And I'm like, you guys are doing money? Like, oh my goodness. And I thought to myself, this is the law in action. Like here is Olivia. She's like 8 years old. She's in middle school. And she's not 8 years old in middle school, but middle school age appropriate. And I just remember just thinking like, this is what it looks like in real life, that here she is learning a financial education in school. And so, it was just, so we have it for middle school, but what we really want to do is go back and have an extension of that law for elementary school. Because I want, in the state of New Jersey and really nationwide, that as soon as if you become a school-age child, that you're learning financial education from the very beginning to the very end of your educational career, so you have the tools and the resources that you're going to need to be a financially responsible adult.
Really, really awesome. I really hope that people are watching. Everybody, be more like New Jersey. I don't understand why it takes someone to love you for something that seems like it should be, common sense. But luckily, you have blazed that path and you're out there making it happen. So hopefully we'll see more of that sweep the nation here soon enough, and we can all let New Jersey lead by example. Okay, so I know you don't have much time. I want to definitely talk a little bit more about your website and exactly what people can kind of get from visiting the website, and some of the different options and things like that. Can you give us just a little bit more insight before I ask you a few trivia questions?
Yeah, sure. You can go to thebudgetnista.com and you can sign up for one of the free literature challenges. Those are the resources that I meant were free and has helped over 900,000 women and their families. You can also get one of my books. I've got five books that you can choose from. You can also, I wrote my very first children's book called Happy Birthday, Molly Moore, because I wanted to give parents, because I remember that financial education or pre-financial education can be successfully taught to children as young as 3. So I wrote a book for ages 3 to 7, and it teaches pre-financial education, sharing, giving, donating, less, more. And so it's called Happy Birthday, Molly Moore. You can also get that on the Budgetnista site. There are a bunch of resources there. And then too, you have access to my blog from that site. So if you're trying to figure out, should you close this credit card? How do I budget? How do I save? There are a bunch of blog posts that walk you through step by step.
Yes. The budget. That is awesome. It's a blessing and really refreshing to have somebody out there sharing that knowledge with the community. We all know when you know better, you do better. So Everybody go visit the Budgetnista at her website, and she can get your coin right for you. All right. So I'm going to ask you just a few Black history trivia questions. We won't take away any stamps from your Black card, but we definitely won't be giving you any if you get some of them wrong. All right. So
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Which of these civil rights activists was the leader behind the Little Rock Nine, the students who desegregated Central High School in 1957? A, Daisy Bates, B, Fannie Lou Hamer, or C, Rosa Parks?
A, Daisy Bates.
A, Daisy Bates. That's right. One stamp on your Black.
Ooh, okay.
Daisy Bates was an American civil rights activist, publisher, journalist, and lecturer who played a leading role in that Little Rock integration crisis. That was quite the, oh my gosh, I only have one question on this sheet for you. I guess you only need one, Tiffany. Your Black card is stamped, and now you're invited to the cookout. You can show up, credentials in hand.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully, we'll be hearing a lot more from you. Everybody go to thebudgetnista.com. Such important information. Just as a little recap, since I have a couple more seconds. You said something earlier, saying people are living beyond their means. Does that mean you do not endorse fake it till you make it?
No, I did not. I did in some ways. It's okay to, to lean into your greatness, but there's nothing great about not being able to afford the life that you're living. You deserve to have the things, but to actually be able to afford them, not just pay for them. You know you can afford them when it's not a financial strain on you. And so you really want that bedroom set, then I would really love if you were able to pay for that in full and not to add another bill. You really want that house. I would love that your income can actually support the mortgage and that you have more than just like you're not just one paycheck away from it all falling down. Everyone deserves to be able to actually afford the life that they're living. That's what I'm wanting for folks. I'm not wanting for folks to experience financial stress and trauma. And when we don't budget, when we don't save, when we don't actively work on growing wealth, then we're really not living to the fullness of what our finances can do for us. I am the Budgetnista at thebudgetnista.com. I'm the Budgetnista on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. You can @me, tweet me. Yes, just Budgetnista everywhere.